Today, I'm going to show you how you can deploy a complex AI agent powered by Mastra in your browser in just a few clicks. Hey, I'm Raph from Defang, and today I'm going to talk to you about our latest sample, and I'm going to show you how to deploy it in just a few clicks in your browser. The sample is a pretty complex Mastra application that includes an agent with tool calling and semantic search using embeddings. It has a background worker that pulls tasks from a queue, includes a vector database, and a whole bunch more stuff. And with the latest updates to Defang, you can actually deploy that, including all the data stores, the LLM integration, the embedding model, all of these things all run in a single click in your cloud account straight from the Defang portal. So let's get started at defang.io. I'm going to click into the portal. I already set up this brand new account. I'm going to click on samples and I'll search for Mastra and click on the Mastra extended sample. On this page, you can read a little bit more about the sample, and you can go ahead and click Deploy on the right. I'm going to connect a new cloud account, click Next, select AWS, click Next, set up myself, Next. That sounds good to me. And I'm already logged in. I'll choose this lab account, copy the verification code, close that, head back in here and click connect. It'll take a few minutes. Basically, it's provisioning some stuff in your AWS account to allow your GitHub repo to deploy directly to AWS using Defang. Okay, so here we can select a project name and a stack name. A stack is basically just like an environment. It can be production, staging, dev, QA, but you can also use it to identify different client accounts. So if you're deploying your agents into your customer cloud accounts, then you might call them customer A, customer B, etc. So let's go ahead and click clone sample. All of our samples are GitHub template repos. So they will bring you to this GitHub page. You just click create repository, and it'll create a new repo in GitHub. And you'll see here under Actions that it will immediately kick off a deployment. You can see that the deployment runs Defang inside of it, and it's connecting directly to your AWS account. And it's going to take a little while the first time because it's provisioning a database, a cache, and a bunch of other stuff. But future deployments should go a lot faster because it's not waiting on AWS to provision a new RDS instance or ElastiCache or anything. So I'll just let this run for a little bit and get back to you. All right, so here we can see that the deployment has completed, and we can click on this URL. And here is the sample. So it's got this button to generate some items to put into this database. It's basically an app that's an agent that helps you navigate what's going on in your ecosystem. So the generate sample items is supposed to generate data that might look like it's coming from a project management tool, as well as some events that you might see come in from observability tooling, that sort of thing. But you can imagine actually hooking things in via webhooks or something along those lines. So let's hit that. And whenever an item comes in, it gets popped onto the queue. And then we use an LLM to classify those items. So you can see here, each item gets some tags and a priority. All of this stuff happens in the queue. So that one just popped off the queue. So now they should all have tags and a priority. Cool. They also all get embeddings for semantic search. So here's some sample questions that you can ask. I don't know, we can say something like anything I should look at relating to resource usage. And then we might expect something like the memory usage above threshold. Yeah, I mean, all of these kind of look like they make sense. And you can see it's running some tool calls to get events. And yeah, that's basically it. You can tweak this if you want to use a larger model to get better answers. You could hook it up to actual systems. Of course, there's no auth or anything like that here. It's just a sample. But I think it's actually a pretty neat starting point for a system that you could build to classify and index information coming into a system that you then want to allow users to ask questions about. Over here in our AWS account, you can see that we've got this ECS cluster with these 4 services. So one is our background worker. The other is our main application with a UI and API. And then we've got these 2, the chat and embedding services. These are services that Defang automatically provisions so that you can have a single consistent API when you're developing in Docker Compose using the Docker model runner. We convert those models from the Docker model runner into these services, which are using Light LLM as a proxy for your cloud's inference provider. So you don't need to switch your API calls if you're deploying with Defang. If you're deploying this application to AWS or GCP, or in the future, maybe other cloud providers as we keep adding them, you never need to change your code. You just deploy and it just works. Over here in RDS, we've got our database instance, which is using pgvector to store our embeddings. And over here in ElastiCache, we've got a Redis instance that we're using for queuing, but you could also use for a whole bunch of other stuff. So that's our sample. Give it a shot. Let us know what you build with it. We love to hear about what you all are building. Try deploying this to AWS, to GCP, and we should be adding more cloud providers in the near future. Happy deploying, folks, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.